Hi guys, it's Orlando City UK here, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by a very, very special guest today. I'm pretty stoked for this one. It's current Orlando City striker and Canadian international Tesho Akindele. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here as well.
Yeah, no, pleasure to have you on the show, Tesho. First of all, I want to say thanks for joining us. I know Oscar trains you guys hard, so we really appreciate you taking some time out for supporters just like us here at Orlando City UK. Now, we're going to split this interview with Tesho into three parts today. We're going to preview the Lions' upcoming game with Tesho's former club, FC Dallas, this Saturday at Exploria Stadium. We're going to speak about Canada's unforgettable qualification for the 2022 World Cup later this year. And we're going to ask Tesho a quick fire list of miscellaneous questions, I'm going to call them, about his time at City so far. So there's a lot to get through in the next 30 minutes. So let's get into it. And let's start with Saturday's game against your old pals, FC Dallas. Now, at the time this is going out, the time of recording, we've just come off a eventful, shall we say, first ever MLS visit to Austin FC. Tell us, how's the mood in camp right now, and what was it like playing at a new stadium, Q2 Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game. The result in the end was kind of disappointing, but I thought our team went out. We showed well, and we played a good game. We scored some good goals. There's definitely lots of positives to take from that game. And then just the stadium, honestly, I was very, very impressed with Austin. Their stadium was really good, and their supporter section was honestly one of the loudest I've ever experienced in my MLS career. Yeah, they were. I don't know if they had microphones or what, but it was really, really loud in there. So yeah, credit where it's due. Their supporter section was really good, and it was a good game experience.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously, you've been used to playing in Texas with FC Dallas. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Austin do look, despite the result and what went down, Austin do look like very passionate supporters in Major League Soccer, a good addition. But talking about your former club, because that's the team we'll be facing on the weekend. I mean, you made over 100 appearances over 4 years for FC Dallas under Oscar Pereira, of course. Now, I want to know, when the MLS regular season fixtures come out, is the Dallas game a game you always look out for? And secondly, how did you react when you was reunited, of course, with Oscar a year after you originally joined the Lions?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like the first time after I got traded to Orlando, the first time we played Dallas, had that one circled, and that was a great game for me personally. Like the first time I was ever a captain of an MLS team, and I scored a goal, we won the game. So like that was a special moment. But then I think like now it's just time moves on, man. And I was treated really well at Dallas. They drafted me. They treated me well, from the coaching staff to the ownership. Everybody treated me well. So I love that club. Nothing but good feelings for them. And yeah, now it's another game with they have a completely new team from when I was there. So time goes on.
Yeah.
And then what was your second question again?
So I checked this the other day when I was researching for this interview, and Oscar joined Orlando
Oh,
City.
okay,
It was
yeah,
almost a year to date, exactly after you joined the club, of course. Take your mind back to when Oscar came to Orlando. How did that feel? Because you know him well, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because so Luis, who's our team's GM or technical director, he was also the technical director when I was at FC Dallas. So I've been with him every single year of my career. I've been with Luis,
Wow.
and then the one year, the first year I came here, Oscar and some of his staff, they went down to Mexico. And then, when the coaching job opened up here, I kind of suspected that that they would go for Oscar, because I know, Luis had seen him work, and I think you guys have seen it now too. Oscar's a good coach, so they had
100.
that personal relationship with him. I kind of figured they'd reach out to him, and they did. They got him to come here. So yeah, it was interesting. I don't know how many times, like in a player's career, that the coach leaves and then they come back to the new
Yeah.
place you're at, or even for the coach, like it's probably weird for him that I'm still here. And we always joke that me and him are kind of like linked at this point. Like I don't know if he'll ever coach a player as long as he's coached me. I'll never have a coach for as longer than I've had him as my coach. So yeah, but like I said, he's a great coach, so there's nobody I'd rather work with than him.
It is certainly a unique situation, and he is a great coach. I mean, you know, we're supporters. We've supported this team since the inaugural season in MLS 2015, and he's come in and, you know, turned around the losing culture. Obviously, you know, beyond a single person, but he's been a big part of that. Now, we've gone 6 wins, 3 ties, 4 losses so far this season. Currently sitting 3rd in the Eastern Conference. And from a supporter's point of view, I'm very happy with how the season's panning out so far. We finally reached the MLS Cup playoffs for 2 consecutive seasons, 2 seasons of which you played a big part as well. We have our own ambitions as supporters, but I want to know from a player on the roster itself, what is the ambition this season?
I think MLS Cup, and you know, we'll say this every year, but I think if that's not your ambition, you shouldn't be a professional soccer player. You shouldn't be a professional athlete. Like, we believe we have the team to do it. Like you said, I think that the culture has been turned around here. You know, like, making playoffs isn't just like a celebration anymore. It's the bare minimum, you know, and like what we're going to celebrate is higher than that. We need to take this team a step further and hopefully, you know, bring home a trophy for the club. And, you know, another thing that we still have on the table too, is the Open Cup. So depending on when this comes out, you know, like, we have the Open Cup and we have, but every trophy, we're chasing trophies over here. And I think that's kind of where we're going.
No, 100%. And Tesho referenced it there. When this does come out, hopefully we have made our way to the quarterfinals of the US Open Cup. We shall see. We shall see. But that's to come later this week. Now, moving on, this middle segment, Tesho, now I really wanted to ask you a few questions about this because I was fortunate enough to be on a visa, and I lived in Canada, so your country, Toronto, for 2 years. Had a wonderful time over there. I love your country, man. But obviously, Canada, in the soccer sense, they're going through an incredible moment in history right now. Top in the Hex in CONCACAF. Obviously, Canada are one of the most storied international teams heading into the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Canada's first World Cup since 1986, 3 years even before I was born. Now, describe your emotions when John Herdman's side finally clinched qualification. It was back in March, wasn't it, against Jamaica at BMO Field. You weren't involved in the squad, but as a Canadian national, tell me how that felt for your country.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the last time, you know, Canada qualified for the World Cup was before I was alive, you know. And then as a player, I've been in and around the Canadian team since 2015, I believe. So I've been through the ups and downs, getting knocked out of World Cup qualifying, you know, time and time again. And it's just something special is going on right now, you know. And like you said, I wasn't directly involved with this cycle's World Cup qualifying, but, you know, I'm right there on the bubble, and I've been in the camps in and out sometimes. So I'm just, as a fan, as a person, as a Canadian, I am just like overwhelmed, happy for the team. And then as a player, man, like, you never know what can happen. Like, even though I wasn't involved, you know, my goals are still to just be in the best shape I can, be ready. If they call me up, then I'm ready to to go to the World Cup if they need me. But yeah, just all around, it's an exciting time for Canadian soccer. So many talented players just at every single position. It's like a renaissance, basically.
Yeah, it certainly is a golden generation, and I'm glad for, you know, someone you'll know well, like Atiba Hutchinson, you know, has been in the national team for years and years, probably never thought he'd make a World Cup, and, you know, he's going to make it. Incredible stuff it was watching it. And you mentioned it there. You have been in the setup now since 2015. Last year, obviously, you were part of the Gold Cup squad. You received a call up, and you played against Mexico. Take your mind back to that experience. How was that, playing in the Gold Cup? I know it ended obviously in a painful defeat for you guys, but how was that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a painful defeat, but it was a good run from the team. Played some good games, and even that Mexico game was an amazing atmosphere. You know, just packed. I think we were in Houston, maybe, or yeah, maybe Houston. And the stadium was just packed out. Anyways, just full. And it was all Mexican fans too, of course. You know, so they were all rooting against us. But those are the kind of moments you just remember as a person. You know, like. And that's something I've been just so grateful for with my national team career in general, is the places that I've been to, just all through, you know, Central America, for example, that I would never go to otherwise. And, you know, I've got so many experiences like that to play in front of different crowds, to play against people from all over the world. It's just been great for me as a person. And I just really always appreciate those opportunities.
Yeah, and you've said it as well. I mean, you said why be in soccer if you're not going to aim for the big prizes, MLS Cup? Why be in soccer? If you don't harbour ambitions to go to the World Cup. I mean, from a supporter's point of view, keep on doing your thing, keep on getting minutes, and you never know, don't you? Obviously, there's a lot of depth in that striker position for Canada now. Jonathan David, Kyle Larin, who we know, of course, Lucas Cavallini of the Whitecaps. There's a lot of depth there, but we're rooting for you, man. And we do the stats previews every week. We've been doing it for years for Orlando City. And you might not know this. It might be a subconscious, but you've been turning up against the Canadian sides over recent years. You always seem to score against TFC in Montreal. So that's good. And something from our side, if you didn't know already. Now, final question is Canada segment. Another place I've been fortunate enough to travel to, wonderful place in the world. Calgary, Alberta is where you were born. You grew up in Colorado in the States, of course. But I wanted to know from you, this is a bit of a unique question, but there's a few Calgarians that have made their way in the game like yourself. Obviously, Fikayo Tomori, formerly of Chelsea, just won Serie A with AC Milan at the weekend. Fantastic defender who I can't wait to see suit up for my country more often, England, because we stole him from you guys in Canada. Same with Owen Hargreaves, another one who played for England, rather than Canada. Those are both from Calgary. Is there any other footballer that you would know from Calgary, Alberta, that we don't?
Yeah, I think the best example is Sam Adekugbe, who he started his career at the Whitecaps, and he's been all over Europe now. But he's a starter for the national team lately.
Yeah.
Everybody might know him as there's that famous like Canada soccer gif when he jumps into the snow, like they're celebrating the goal. So yeah, that's my brother right there. He's from Calgary. So he's an amazing player. Just a really amazing player. He scored some crucial goals even in the World Cup qualifying. So big shout out to him, for fellow Calgarian right there.
You brought that up, and I remember watching that game, and it was I think Canada Soccer billed it as like the great freeze out or something like that, and it was Sam Adekugbe who did that famous celebration into the snow park. Having lived in Canada and experienced the Toronto cold coming off Lake Ontario, I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, you've played in Florida now, where it gets humid. And we're traveling over there for our next trip in June against the Houston Dynamo. And fortunately, as a supporter, that game's an evening game, so hopefully it's cooled down a bit. But that's always what amazes me as a supporter of Major League Soccer, the different temperatures and altitudes. And I think that's something that, being an English person, MLS gets put down a lot by the Euro snobs, but I think that's something that, it's so unique and difficult to deal with, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what, I'm thankful for the water breaks that they added now, because at the beginning of my career they didn't have water breaks, but in some of those hot Orlando games I'm very thankful for the water breaks. But yeah, man, it is something to think about. Like like you said, the altitude too is really underrated. Like when you go to Colorado or Salt Lake, 5 minutes into the game and you're already breathing super heavy. So there's just a lot to deal with, and also just the travel, because obviously the country's so big, or you have to travel to Canada sometimes. There's a lot of travel. Even like 2 weeks ago, the team we played in Toronto, then came back, and then came back to Orlando, played a game in Orlando, then went to Montreal to play. So like just so much travel, different countries, you're going through customs, different weather, like there's a lot to deal with, but it's all part of the game, which it just makes it interesting.
This is it, and give us supporters an idea. So as we record now, it's Tuesday. Obviously, the Open Cup is on Wednesday, and then the Dallas game on Saturday. We played at Austin. Obviously, it was a national televised game, so we played Sunday. Did you travel back to Orlando the same evening after the Austin game?
Yeah, I mean, we've been lucky actually since COVID. They've basically switched to all charter flights. So almost without exception, I think one game this year that it didn't happen, but usually now, right after the game, we'll have a meal at the stadium, go to the airport, and just charter home immediately. So after Austin, because the time change, we got home pretty late. We got home at like 2:30 or 3. But then, you know, you just sleep in that day, and we had training at night that night. So, but it makes a big difference, because back in the day, you would play that Austin game, then you would go back to the hotel for the night. You wake up in the next morning, fly out, and you don't get home until like 2 o'clock. So you lose the whole next day. Having the charter flights now makes a big difference. And, you know, we get out of the cities right after the game, you know, everywhere we play, and it helps a lot.
It's certainly good to hear that, because I mean, only a couple years ago, you know, you joined the club after his tenure, but we spoke with Luke Bowden, and he was talking about the flights and kind of what MLS had to do to, you know, help the franchises, help the teams out a bit more with recovery. And it's certainly been a welcome addition, those charter flights, for sure. Now, third and final segment, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm going to ask Tesho a quick fire series of, going to call them miscellaneous Orlando City questions, because we could ask him about everything and anything right now, but we have selected about 10 or 12 random questions, everything when he first joined the club in 2018 to present day. So here goes, Tesho. Best pal in the locker room, who is it?
I gotta go with Benji. Yeah, that's my guy. But he's a funny guy. He's an entertainer. I love playing on the field with him. Off the field, he's a great guy, and he's a really smart person too. You know, like anybody who follows me on Twitter, you see me talking about like business, real estate, and stuff. And Benji thinks a lot the same. He runs like a trucking business, so we kind of connect on that side of things as well.
That's great. I mean, we see all the clips. You know, we got a dub. You know, he is that larger than life character. He's like that in the locker room, right?
Yeah, honestly, he is just one of the best entertainers. Like, he knows how to seize the moment and like really, or, you know, like throwing on a cowboy hat, and he's got his back flips, and he's like, he just really does seize the moment, and it's authentic too. You know, like everybody loves to see him winning because he's a really good person. And you know what? Yeah, like what you see is actually Benji. Like he's always that guy on the field, off the field. So
yeah, I'm certainly saving the gif of him on the speedboat in one of the when we win MLS Cup, whenever that is. Hopefully this season that gif is going to be used.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
100%. Now, biggest maybe you've just said it. Biggest joker, is it Benji?
I'm gonna go with Pedro for that one. Pedro is so funny, and it's crazy because, so you know, we have so many languages in our locker room, and Pedro, his English is so obviously he speaks Spanish, but he's able to make everyone laugh. Like he's just so universally funny that even, you know, say somebody like Robin who doesn't know any Spanish, like will get his joke and laugh, because he's just so funny. Like his mannerisms are funny. Like, let me tell one of the funniest things that Pedro does is, like, if we're doing a finishing drill and sometimes you're a striker and you take a bad shot, it's kind of soft, he'll block it and he'll say like, ouch. Like, we're just making fun of you, you know, like, because you know you took a bad shot, and then he just rubs it in your face with like a little ouch. So that's just an example of something he does, that he's a really funny guy. He's a really funny guy.
We love that guy, man. I mean, you've talked about him off the field there. On the field, that guy has been a monster for our club.
Legend.
A big signing for sure. Biggest joker, Pedro Galese from Tesho there. All right, moving that round. Most serious. Now, we got told in his tenure before, James O'Connor was the most serious man to ever walk foot in Orlando City. But now, who is the most serious? Is it Oscar or is it a player?
Yeah, Oscar is a pretty serious guy. Let's go with as a player. I'll probably say maybe Robin. Robin is a pretty serious guy, so I'll go with Robin.
Yeah, he plays that tough guy act when we watch it as supporters.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like he's off the field, like he's serious, but he's very nice. And then on the field, man, he can get a little feisty. You know, you definitely don't want to be on his bad side when the game's going on, because he flips that Viking switch. That's for sure.
We have seen that Viking switch many a time, and it's the reason he's on my home jersey, the thick and thin. What a player again. Now, we've seen this when you guys, I can't remember off the top of my head, but in the off season when you guys do the warm weather training, and it's, you know, the off season, the transfer market's on, so we're bringing in the new guys. We always see them sing their initiation songs, which are hilarious. They do it in football clubs worldwide. We've done it. Who's the best singer and who's the worst?
The best this year, Erçen Kara, he came in and he was singing like some Turkish song, you know, and then he had like a little dance that he was doing to it, and just everybody was going crazy. Like everybody joined in on the dance he was doing. I think actually like after his goal in Austin, like if you look, him and Urso were kind of doing a little bit of the dance. They had their arms out like bent over. So he was like doing that dance with some Turkish music, singing it super loud, and it was like he really got the crowd behind him. So
It was a
he was the
vibe
best.
by the
Oh,
sounds.
a super vibe. Yeah, like you didn't know what was going on, but you just wanted to be a part of it. So like that was he. I'm gonna give him props for being the best. And then the worst, man, it's the young guys are always the worst. Like let's say Mikey, Thomas, like because they're so nervous, you know.
Yeah.
Those guys, I don't know if they're actually the worst singers, but like in the moment they get very nervous, which is fair. Like if I was 16, 17 years old singing in front of professional players, I'd be nervous too.
That's the fascinating thing. I mean, I'm 32 now. I can't even remember when I was 17, 18, like Thomas, I see guys like Thomas Williams come into the team and, you feel like a father figure. You just want them to do well. You hit the nail on the head. That's the most fascinating thing about Major League Soccer rosters. You've got these guys, fresh out of college, local lads, and then you have stars from around the world like Nani and, Kaká, and incredible, fascinating insight there.
Yeah.
Longest in the shower, Tesho. Who is it? Is it you?
I'll say Rodrigo, and the reason is because Rodrigo is like he wants one specific shower stall, and so like if it's full, he'll just wait. Like even if all the other ones are empty and somebody's using the one he likes, he'll just wait there. So he'll always be in the shower, either taking one in that spot or just like waiting for that spot to open up. I don't know if he's superstitious, I guess, but it's pretty funny.
Bonus question. I'll have to ask you about this because you just mentioned him there. Rodrigo Schlegel. I mean, I'm a massive Arsenal supporter, former season ticket holder with my dad. I absolutely love the game. Honestly, between me and you, I've still never, ever to this day watched a crazier game than that shootout. Rodrigo against NYCFC. Quickly, tell us. I can't even remember it. So, were you on the pitch or were you on the sub? I can't remember now. But tell us, how did you feel in that moment? What was going on then?
Yeah, just a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, and like, speaking of just like unforgettable moments, that's like one of the craziest moments that's happened in soccer history. Like not even just Orlando City or MLS, like in soccer in general. Goalie gets taken out of the PK shootout and a player steps up and then saves it. Like who as soon as he went into goal, I was like, oh man, we're done. But he pulled it out, man. So it was unbelievable. Legendary moment forever. And I just feel bad also for the person who missed the PK against Rodrigo, because it's like,
Yeah.
how do you go look at your team? It's tough to look at your teammates after missing a PK to like the center back. It's tough.
As you well know, NYCFC are not our favorite club in Orlando. It was the Icelandic left back Steinsson, I think, if I pronounced that right. But yeah, honestly, I still watch that shootout from time to time. When I'm just looking for a buzz. When I'm looking to feel good again, and
Yeah.
had to be seen to be believed, didn't it?
Yeah, that was
Moving
amazing.
on. Yeah, I mean, you guys are caught up in the moment. You're in the zone when you're on the field, but you've been in Orlando longer than most now. What's your favorite chant sung by the Ruckus or ILF on the wall?
That's a good question. You know what I like? I like when they single players out for whatever reason. Like I remember my first year here, they would like whenever Chris Mueller was on the bench, they would say, "We want Mueller," like stuff like that. I think it's
Yeah,
because as a player, it's just very cool when the whole crowd gets behind you personally, or just like
yeah.
so I like any of the times when they just single out anybody on our team for whatever reason. They're playing well or they make something up. So those ones are always my favorite chants right there.
That's super interesting as well, because it's something we talk about as a an English account, an English person myself. It's something we regularly converse about with the American fans over there in Orlando. And I mean, player specific chants are such a big part of English football. I mean, you'll know, having watched English football, and they're not so much in MLS for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but we, us unofficial, supporters groups, we often put our heads together to try and make up a chance to, get them going.
No, we
yeah,
need more player specific chants, I think, because like
yeah,
players just like it, like it's just cool to have the whole stadium like
right?
singing for you. Like it's very cool. So I think that that's like a cool thing that the fans and the players can kind of do to get connected, like just
Yeah.
single people out for whether they're having a good game or you want them subbed on or whatever. Like, it's only a good thing. So I love those player specific chants. Like you said, hopefully we can like take some of that fan culture from
Yeah.
the UK and like bring it over here.
100%, 100%. I've got to admit though, for the club specific ones, I have been toe tapping for years in the wee hours of the morning to some of those Spanish lyrics, and
Yeah.
it's just we create such a good atmosphere, man. It gives me
No, it
goosebumps.
is a great atmosphere for sure, for
It
sure.
gives me
And like you said, like having just like different languages too, just kind of I think our team encompasses that, the fan base encompasses that. So it's good to like just like bring in the diverse, because that's what soccer's all about, man. It's the world sport,
yeah.
So like just to bring in the whole world, the whole city into it is really positive as well.
With that diversity in the locker room, do you just speak English, or do you speak more than one language?
I mean, fluently only English, but my Spanish is good. Like I think I'm out of like the English speaking guys. I think I'm one of the best at Spanish, so I can get by in almost all conversations in Spanish. You wouldn't confuse me for being fluent. I'd probably sound like a third grader or like a 5 year old, but like I can get by. I can understand a lot and I can get my words out. And then Portuguese is difficult for me. So yeah, I don't. You would think it's like very similar to Spanish, but it's much more difficult, especially on the speaking side. I'm lost on Portuguese, but my Spanish is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Still learning the Portuguese. Now,
Yeah.
now we see you, Tesho, and I will say this in front of you on this interview. Supporters love a football player who gives back, and this season especially, you're always regularly engaging with fans, chatting to us now. You've got your passions outside soccer as well, and we really, really appreciate that. We really do. What is your biggest passion though, besides soccer? Because we see you regularly tweeting about real estate and financials. What is it?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's real estate investing, and just like as an athlete, obviously, like our career comes to an end someday, and I found for me personally, like real estate investing is a good way to kind of like help you for whatever's next, kind of take the pressure off of yourself. So, and I think like real estate investing is good for just anybody. Like I think that if anybody like looks into the benefits of it and like dedicates a little bit of time, it can change their life for the better. So I'm a big fan of spreading the gospel of real estate investing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite topic for sure. For sure, off the field.
I've got to say, I did like good friend of ours as well. I did love Marima creating your new profile picture on Twitter with all of your interests
Yeah,
in
that was
there.
amazing, right? Like when she sent that to me, I was blown away by how good the artwork was. Literally, I was like sending it to all my friends, showing my wife, like, look at what she's just done. Like it was really, really good. So
That's what
yeah,
we share in common. My profile picture with the cap, she did ours as well, and I mean she is incredible. So shout out to you, Marima.
yeah,
They did give you a game day poster in the end with Mason Steiderhart on the front. So yeah, super cool.
she's really good.
Shout out Marima for sure. Now, final few questions. You know him well. We know him kind of well from the outside. You know him better than us. Tell us something we wouldn't know about Oscar, seeing as you've spent so many years, as you say, together.
Something you guys wouldn't know. That's tough. Yeah, I think I don't know. Let's see. I think that he's changed his demeanor a lot. I'll say that over the years. Like
Mhm.
he used to be more like yelling at players like after the game and very intense, but I think he's kind of like calmed down a little bit. So it's just interesting to see people evolve. Like obviously we all grow up. Like he's seen me grow up from a 21-year-old to now I have a wife and two kids, like, and he's been there the entire time. So it's also been interesting watching him just kind of like just calm down a little bit, ride the waves a little bit differently. And like he still brings that passion. He's like one of the most passionate people, but then he can also step back in in difficult moments for the team and kind of like like he just balances us out, you know, like if the team's down, he brings our energy up. If we get too high, he'll might yell at us and chop us down. So finds the right balance there.
I remember vividly, and you know, it was a tough baptism for Orlando City in MLS. You know, it took us a while to make the playoffs first time, but I remember in the MLS's back tournament, those caps of Oscar laying out the counters on the tactics boards, and honestly, as supporters, just seeing that meant the world to us, because you know, this guy was serious, and he's been really good for the team ever since. So yeah, quick word on Oscar there. Brilliant.
He's super dedicated. Like even like let me tell one funny story real quick. Is like when I was in Dallas, he called so we had practice in the morning at like 8 a.m. and then he called a few of us at like 10 p.m. and said, "Guys, can you come in for a meeting?" We're like, okay. So, you know, we drove back to the facility and Oscar was there like wearing his cleats still. Like he had been wearing his cleats since 8 a.m. He was in his office 10 p.m.
There's Adidas World Cups.
Yeah, it was like, it was insane. And we were so like, you'll never find somebody more dedicated to the game than he is. Like that moment, I was like, this guy is crazy. Like he is so dedicated, literally still wearing his cleats, still thinking tactics. He's like, what do you guys think about this and that at 10 p.m. And we had trained that morning. So yeah, that's the kind of guy he is though.
100%, 100%. Now, final few. Favorite away destination in MLS? You've traveled everywhere with your teams. Where's the best?
Usually I've always answered this question as Portland, but I'll tell you what, like Austin was a good one. Austin was a really good one. So I've only been there once. I don't want to commit to it being my favorite yet, but it's definitely, it's just like their atmosphere on the field as well as just the city in general was very cool. So I liked Austin a lot.
Certainly on my bucket list, and was insanely jealous of the 50 or so fans that went over there. Hope you had a great time despite obviously how it went. But yeah, Austin looks super cool. The Foundation Balls, you've attended them before. Who's the best? Who's the worst dancer?
Benji, you know, Benji's the best dancer, natural born entertainer. Man, I might have to say I am the worst dancer. I got no rhythm. Like I don't know what happened. And it's funny because my dad, you know, his family is from Nigeria. He's from Nigeria. And so like every time we go to these Nigerian parties, everybody's dancing and I just have no rhythm for some reason. So like I just get made fun of relentlessly by my family. I think my sister, she took all the good dance moves. She's a really good dancer, but so I might have to throw myself under the bus, say
Oh
I'm the
man.
worst, but you know, I'll own up to it. It's all right. It's all right.
Big up for owning up to it.
Yeah.
The final one, your favorite goal. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's a little while ago now, because you've been with us for a while now. But you did, didn't you? You scored on your Orlando City debut against NYCFC. Not every football player can say that, so congrats for that. But what was your favorite goal you've scored for Orlando City, looking back over the years?
Yeah, that one. So I'll give you two. I'll give you that one. And so, like you said, that was my Orlando City debut. You always want to make a good impression in front of, you know, the fans. And then also, like I had just had my son. So that was the first game, and my son was there, first time he was ever there. So that was really cool. And then, man, I have a couple, but I'll go with another one was the goal I scored against Cincinnati, like very early in the game, like 30
Yeah,
seconds in. And then
yeah.
because we had just recently found out we were pregnant with my second son, and so, you know, I scored so early, it was cool. And then I was able to do that celebration, like the ball, you know, in your jersey, like you're pregnant. I've always wanted to do that. So
You
that,
were
like, I
running
feel
on
like,
adrenaline.
yeah. And so I feel like I have one goal kind of dedicated to both of my sons there, which
Nice.
is just really cool.
That's awesome. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that still stands as Orlando City's fastest goal in MLS.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does. It does right now. It might be tough to break. I don't know. Somebody
I
could break
think
it
it's
eventually, but it was pretty quick, man.
I
Pretty
think
quick.
you're going to hold on to that one for a few years yet, Tesho. That
Yeah,
was
I hope
super
so.
quick, that one against Cincy. We
Yeah.
remember well. But man, that's almost our time up. 30 minutes has absolutely flown by. So I want to say a big thank you to Tesho for joining us. Good luck for the rest of the season. Orlando City UK has always and will always be rooting for you as always. Good luck in the games this week, especially against your old club, FC Dallas, on Saturday. So
Yeah,
thanks.
thank you. Thanks for having me on. And just, you know, I kind of mentioned this before we started recording, but thanks for just creating content around the team and just for MLS because not a lot of people are doing it. I feel like it's a bit of a thankless job, but you guys are like the lifeblood of the league, really, just kind of driving it forward. So I'm always happy to do these podcasts and just show love back, because you guys do put so much time and effort into what you do, and it's appreciated. Like we see it, we appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate that, Tesho. Thanks very much. We love it. We're not stopping anytime soon. And we will have our play-by-play that we usually do of Orlando City versus FC Dallas this Saturday. Game takes place at home at Exploria Stadium, 7:30 Eastern kickoff, midnight in the UK. It's another late one for us. So we'll have the energy drinks at the ready. But let's grab all 3 points and push up the Eastern Conference. We're having a fantastic season so far. Thanks again, Tesho. Until next time, vamos Orlando.
See you guys.